truly, I want to like something about her. I'm searching for something to like about her. And it's so hard because she suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human.
Candace Owens just called Meghan Markle a malignant narcissist, which is conservative for, I've had it with this woman. According to Owens, Meghan isn't just playing the victim, she's auditioning for an Oscar. Every podcast, every public sob story, every teary monologue about how hard it is to be a duchess in a palace with staff is, in her words, completely staged. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear Harry blinking in Morse code.
And then she says her son, who, if you've seen a picture of, and you think that he has faced anti-Black racism in his life, then I'm a Nigerian prince, and I have, an account that you can send some money into.
Daily Wire, yeah, it's the one and only Candace Owens joins me. Candace, welcome to GBN America.
What a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. They were not pleased to see him here at all. I was very content with them being put in Canada, but I obviously knew that they would end up in LA because that was Meghan's dream. Her dream was to be an A-lister, and she was unable to make it to those A-list parties on the basis of her own merit as an actress. She wasn't a very good actress.
Owens zeroed in on Meghan's recent appearance on Jamie Kern-Lima's podcast, the one marketed as a raw, unfiltered glimpse into her real self. No glam squad, no palace, just Meghan, and a perfectly staged lighting setup, high-end audio, and what appeared to be an emotional breakdown without any actual tears. According to Owens, the whole thing was a PR stunt dressed up as vulnerability. Meghan pitched it like a confessional, but critics say it played more like a calculated brand rollout.
So she figured out how to maneuver that by marrying a prince who, the only way to say it is, he's just not as intelligent as her. He's not reading the situation as clearly as other people are reading it, and he has been subjected to her manipulation.
For someone claiming to step away from the spotlight, Meghan sure knows how to find a camera. Owens called it performance activism, weaponizing emotion without the receipts. And the irony? The episode was supposed to be about authenticity. But to anyone watching with half a brain, it looked less like a moment of truth and more like a soft focus commercial for sympathy. And this isn't new. Meghan's been cycling through the same formula for years. Play the victim, control the narrative, rinse, repeat. Owens just happened to say it louder, and with better lighting.
And then she says her son, who, if you've seen a picture of, and you think that he has faced anti-Black racism in his life, then I'm a Nigerian prince, and I have, an account that you can send some money into.
Without question, to himself and Meghan, I think that Americans were split 50-50 maybe a couple of months ago when it came to Harry and Meghan. But the problem is that they can't close their mouths and they just keep talking, and it seems more and more petty. I mean, I was early on this. When Meghan and Harry were still in the royal family and living at Frogmore, I wrote an open statement on Twitter, which you can go back and look, that she was going to end up back in the United States and in Los Angeles.
Owens, and she's not alone here, mocked the so-called raw and unfiltered aesthetic Meghan pushed on the podcast. Because when someone says, "This is the real me," while sitting in a perfectly staged room with flawless waves in her hair and what looks suspiciously like a soft glow of foundation, the message gets a little muddled.
And so in this podcast, Meghan does her perfectly curated life thing, but she's allegedly wearing no makeup. Meanwhile, she's got like the perfect blowout, and like she's completely camera ready, except she didn't put eye makeup on. And she also is pretending like she's crying. And we did a zero in, like we zoomed in just to see there isn't a tear.
Critics pointed out that for a supposedly barefaced moment, Meghan looked suspiciously camera ready. The lighting, studio grade. The no makeup look, likely a cocktail of tinted moisturizer and great jeans. And the overall vibe, less woman-shedding artifice, and more former actress hitting her emotional marks. To Owens and others, this is the core of Meghan's problem. She markets herself as vulnerable, but delivers a polished product every single time. There's a difference between being relatable and being marketable, and Meghan, they argue, constantly confuses the two.
I thought your analysis of this book was spot on. You've called Harry despicable for trying to trash the royal family's reputation and dragging them below even what the Kardashians would get up to. So from an American perspective, do you think he has succeeded in damaging the monarchy, or is the biggest damage actually to the brand of himself and Meghan.
Owens called it manipulative. Others called it strategy. Either way, the consensus is this. Meghan doesn't just share her pain, she packages it. The tearless emotion, the repeated, "I just want my kids to know" lines, the dramatic framing. It's all designed to reinforce the narrative she's been selling since day one, that she's misunderstood, mistreated, and constantly under siege. And maybe she is. But when every authentic moment comes with polished visuals and post-production vibes, it starts to feel less like honesty and more like marketing.
From the Brits, like, what do Americans really think of Harry and Meghan? We despise them. We have had a conclave of sorts. We have come to a universal response. We are a single organism. We despise them. I loved how you described Harry and Meghan as sort of a splinter group of a royal camp in America. It made me think of, I think of them as sort of emotional terrorists.
Meghan, our Duchess, has decided that she's going to push the Netflix series, the one that we showed you of her cooking, because it's so relatable. She felt that maybe it would not be relatable at this time to see her cooking in a mansion that belongs to one of her friends and inviting over her rich and fabulous people as she gets honey out of the garden and presents perfect Martha Stewart-looking cakes. They thought maybe that's not the right time.
Candace Owens doesn't mince words. And when it comes to Meghan Markle, she drops the charm entirely. According to Owens, Meghan's biggest problem isn't the media or the monarchy or even the haters online. It's that she's fundamentally unlikable. Not in a villainous, misunderstood way, but in a you can't fake warmth forever kind of way. Her transformation from a supporting role on Suits to the soft-spoken, tea-sipping, modern Martha Stewart of Montecito just doesn't track.
I just saw her coming. She's a D-list actress, and all she's ever wanted to do was be invited to A-list events. And she's been a social climber from the beginning. She married somebody the first time to socially climb. And for her, Harry was just an entry ticket into all of those circles. Unfortunately, she found someone. She's not very intelligent. She's not very talented. Nobody in America was watching Suits. She was an actress that was living in Canada. And fortunately for her, and credit to her, she found someone that is dumber than her. And that's the truth, is that Harry's just not a very smart person.
Owens argues it's not personal growth, it's brand evolution, a full-blown PR fantasy wrapped in neutral tones and rescue chickens. One day she's doing red carpets, the next she's pitching lifestyle tips like a Duchess-turned-goop intern. And somehow, we're all supposed to forget the leap in tone, temperament, and storytelling. But the issue, critics say, is that none of it feels earned. Meghan wants to be the poster child for resilience and reinvention, but every step seems airbrushed, every anecdote perfectly calibrated.
And if there's one thing that this book definitely is not, it's a good advertisement for Eton, right? I mean, if I'm thinking about whether or not I want to send my son Eton, I'm telling you, I'm thinking now, did this guy graduate? He begins his book with a quote he says is from brainyquote.com. And then he says he found out that it was from William Faulkner and thought to himself, who the F is William Faulkner? He put this in his book. It instantly lets you know how non-academic he is.
And just when you think Meghan's reinvention couldn't get any more curated, she starts pitching herself as a hardworking entrepreneur. Cue Candace Owens, rolling her eyes so hard they might qualify as a workout. Owens torches the idea that Meghan is some self-made mogul grinding behind the scenes. According to her, Meghan's definition of hard work includes things like approving pastel color palettes, writing Instagram captions about gratitude, and picking oat milk over almond milk for brand synergy.
To say, Harry has used Princess Diana as an excuse and as a shield, and something that is obviously very sad and a tragedy for any child to experience. He is now using it to say, well, you can't critique me because I am Princess Diana's son and I suffered this tragedy. Well, guess what? So did William. So did Prince William. And what you are doing to him, what you have done to his daughter, what you did to Charlotte, your niece, I mean, how dare you?
That's the only thing that makes them relevant. Meghan's podcast has fallen off the charts. She's been criticized for the content. There are rumors that her As Ever launch wasn't as successful as she considered it. Critically, With Love Meghan was not a success.
At the core of the Sussex PR machine is one stubborn assumption, that the royal name is a forever passport to power. Meghan and Harry keep banking on their titles like expired credit cards, swiping at every brand, platform, and boardroom in hopes that someone, somewhere, still thinks it carries weight. But here's the problem. Outside the palace gates, you actually need more than a tragic backstory and a coat of arms. You need ideas. You need execution. And frankly, you need a little basic sense.
You know, she wasn't a very good actress, and so she figured out how to maneuver that by marrying a prince who, the only way to say it is, he's just not as intelligent as her. He's not reading the situation as clearly as other people are reading it, and he has been subjected to her manipulation.
So when Meghan talks about hustling, building, or pouring into her brand, Owens, and plenty of others, aren't buying it. Because it's hard to sell yourself as a boss babe when your weekly labor log looks like a coffee run in a Zoom call. The myth of Meghan as an overworked visionary, Owens calls it what it is: branding. Pretty, polished, and just detached enough from reality to fit neatly into a Pinterest board.
States that's the only thing that makes them relevant. Megan's podcast has fallen off the charts. She's been criticized for the content. There are rumors that her As Ever launch wasn't as successful as she considered it. Critically, With Love Meghan was not a success.
And then there's the infamous Spotify deal, the crown jewel in Meghan's post-royal brand empire. Or so it was supposed to be. Candace Owens ripped it to shreds, calling the Archetypes podcast a scripted snooze fest. According to her, it wasn't just boring. It was the kind of podcast you put on when you want to fall asleep. Overproduced, overly sanitized, and somehow still lacking substance, it felt less like a conversation and more like a press release read aloud over mood music.
Well, now to California, where the fortunes of Prince Harry and Meghan appear to be fast on the decline. Not only has Spotify pulled the plug on its $29 million deal with them, but the head of Spotify's podcast innovation and monetization unit, Bill Simmons, has labelled the couple as grifters. Have a listen.
I wish I had been involved in the Meghan and Harry leave Spotify negotiation. The grifters. That's the podcast we should have launched with them.
Reports claimed Meghan delivered just one season before the partnership quietly fell apart. No follow-up, no big finale, just a soft fade out into the archive of overhyped media flops. To Owens, it was proof that Meghan's empire is built more on perception than performance. You can sell impact all day, but if the product doesn't land, people notice, especially when it comes with a multi-million-dollar price tag and zero staying power.
I got to get drunk one night and tell the story of the Zoom I had with Harry to try to help him with a podcast idea.
Do it.
It's one of my best stories.
That is brutal as it gets. And sources close to Spotify say the royal couple produced only one episode of the promised 12-episode series in order to earn that $29 million. And now it's also being reported that Netflix is unlikely to renew their contract with the couple either.
And if the Spotify flop wasn't enough, Meghan's media empire didn't exactly rebound with her Netflix projects or her latest lifestyle venture, American Riviera Orchard. Owens and other critics say both are just more glossy distractions. High-budget efforts to slap a meaningful label on what's really just a fame-chasing business model. The Netflix deals, headlines, hype, and a docuseries that felt more like a Pinterest mood board of palace complaints. As for American Riviera Orchard, it launched with jars of jam sent to celebrities like it was a middle school popularity contest.
I mean, the executive over at Spotify pretty much said that these are a bunch of lazy people with bad ideas that feel entitled to money. It's the ultimate entitlement is what you're taking a look at. And I don't know if any person listening to this program actually took the time to listen to the podcast that she produced on Spotify. I did. It was a source of great humor for me. And I played some of those tidbits on the show. It's weird, it's raspy, it's her talking about her dreams, talking about, the patriarchy and feminism and just all of the buzzwords that get you invited to the right parties in LA.
Owens doesn't mince words here. She calls Meghan a grifter. Someone who's not building a brand, she's building a narrative. One where she's the misunderstood heroine, bravely monetizing her truth, one underwhelming venture at a time. The empowerment angle? Critics say it's a marketing costume. Meghan talks about breaking barriers, but somehow every project ends up being about her. Her pain, her image, her curated struggle. And behind the soft focus and empowerment slogans, what's left is a business plan that runs on attention and exits quietly when the numbers don't add up.
But there's no substance behind it. And as I said, the reason why it failed is because people want authenticity. And unfortunately, they aren't getting that from this couple anymore. So they're just going to keep being shuffled from award show to award show, given awards for basically doing absolutely nothing but acquiescing to a government narrative. It's quite pathetic, and it's sad because Harry was so well liked. He was kind of like the bad boy prince. People liked him because he seemed so authentic, and now
he was loved.
Seems,
yeah.
Owen's final verdict: Meghan isn't capable of genuine emotion or connection, not because she won't share, but because she's too busy shaping the story to actually live it. The result is a public figure who talks endlessly about authenticity, while never quite sounding human. But what do you think? Is Meghan just misunderstood? Or is this one long PR performance that finally ran out of rewrites? Let us know in the comments, subscribe for more sharp takes, and we'll see you in the next one.